Thanks for always finishing your lunch. Huh? I haven't been eating it. What? I've been throwing it away. I couldn't believe my ears. I get up early every morning to prepare his lunch, and it turns out he's been throwing it away. Why would you do that? It's my lunch. I can do what I want, right? I was heartbroken seeing my husband laugh as he said that. I lost faith in him as a person, and I decided to get back at him. I'll show him that I'm not always a submissive wife. Please marry me. Yes. 1 year after we started dating, I married my husband. We met at work. He was at the head office, and I was in the sales department. While we were dating, he always put me first, taking me to my favorite places and letting me eat my favorite foods. Every day, I felt happy thinking about the wonderful life that awaited us. But after we got married, his attitude changed drastically. He began to nitpick everything I did and made all the decisions himself. He became a controlling husband, and things gradually got worse. Recently, something truly unforgivable happened. Huh? What did you just say? I told you to start making lunch every day from tomorrow. Why? It's normal for a wife to make her husband's lunch, right? 3 years into our marriage, my husband suddenly insisted on this. I work too, and I'm busy in the mornings. Honestly, I don't want to take on more than I have to. We used to eat lunch separately, so why the sudden change? I was puzzled. I don't want meal preps. I want freshly made ones every morning. From that day on, I started getting up at 5 a.m. to make his lunch. Cooking was never my strong suit, and even simple tasks like making scrambled eggs took considerable time. Preparing all the side dishes for lunch in the morning was quite a challenge. This new routine left me with less sleep, and it was extremely tough. One night, seeing the empty lunchbox in the sink, I felt relieved, thinking, oh, he ate it all. From then on, I continued making his lunch every day, though he never expressed any feedback. Out of curiosity, I asked him one day, by the way, is there anything specific you want in your lunch? No, not really. I see. I thought you liked it since you always finish it. Ha! I haven't been eating it. What? I've been throwing it away. I couldn't believe my ears. I was baffled as to why he would throw away the lunch I got up early every morning to make. Why would you do that? Well, your cooking is bland. It doesn't make me want to eat. But I get up early and put a lot of effort into making it. Then make something that makes me want to eat. But you don't have to throw it away. You made it for me. I can do whatever I want with it. I was stunned. Why would he have me make lunch in the first place? When I asked him, he nonchalantly responded, because it's fun. He made me make lunch just so he could throw it away. I never thought he would do such a thing. I was so heartbroken that I cried myself to sleep that night and didn't make his lunch the next day. My husband got furious. I saw no point in preparing his lunch knowing he wouldn't eat it. But if I snapped back, I knew he would throw a temper. So I decided to fix his lunch again starting the next day, even though it was going to be thrown away anyway. Feeling more and more hollow each day as I made his lunch, I gradually began to prepare fewer items. You've been slacking off recently, haven't you? Do you think I wouldn't notice? I'm sorry, but if you're not going to eat it, it's the variety of food that makes me feel refreshed when I throw it away. Don't you get it? I don't understand at all. Due to my lack of sleep every day, I was so exhausted that I started making mistakes at work. That's when I heard a troubling rumor. Apparently, my husband had been bad-mouthing me. When I asked a colleague who had been on a business trip to our headquarters for details, he said my husband was calling me a useless wife and saying things like, she can't do anything without me. She has no will of her own. It was bad enough to know he was saying these things behind my back, but hearing it confirmed, I couldn't just sit back and take it. Over the weekend, I decided to confirm the truth and asked a close friend who works at the headquarters. Mickey, I've heard it too. Really? Yeah, your husband is pretty harsh on women. I don't know if it's because he's good at his job, but he seems to think women should only be assigned to make photocopies or something. No way. He wasn't like that before we got married. Did you do something? It's the other way around. I'm the one being treated poorly. How's he treating you? I explained to Mickey about him throwing away my lunch. As she listened, she became visibly angry, wrapping me in a tight hug as tears welled in her eyes. You've been so patient. I can't imagine how tough it must have been. Why are you crying, Mickey? I'm crying for you, you fool. But this is unacceptable. He needs to learn his lesson. That's true. He's really wronged you. Have you thought about getting a divorce? I'm worried about finances right now. You can handle that. I'm more worried about you. You're numb to the pain even after being mistreated like that. That's a sign you're not okay. It's not like I'm numb. I'm pissed. Then Mickey gave me a serious look. Do you want to get a divorce? In truth, the idea of divorce had been lingering in my mind. Thankfully, we didn't have any children. I found myself contemplating whether I should continue enduring life with my abusive husband indefinitely. To weigh my options, I wanted to take advantage of this opportunity. I gazed directly into Mickey's eyes and said, "There's something I want to try. Will you help me?" "Of course." "Thank you. I want to use your position." You see, Mickey is actually the granddaughter of our chairman. Moreover, she's currently working as an executive assistant at the headquarters. I can't overlook the opportunity to enlist such a powerful ally. That's quite an idea. I see where you're going with this. I'm starting to look forward to it. If this goes well, I can make my husband feel ashamed of himself. The following Monday, as usual, I handed my husband his lunch. "Do you have time tonight?" "What's this about all of a sudden?" "You know Mickey, my friend who works as an executive assistant." "Yeah, what about her?" "Mickey says she'd really like to invite us to dinner. Apparently, the chairman will also be there." "The chairman? He wants to show appreciation for his hard-working employees. If it's a request from the chairman, I can't refuse." "All right." I thought he would be suspicious, but surprisingly, he agreed quite easily. Perhaps he was pleased with the thought of being invited by the chairman. With that, everything fell into place. After work, I met up with my husband and confirmed once again that he had thrown away his lunch. Then we went to the restaurant specified by Mickey for dinner with the chairman. My husband seemed pleased with the fancy place and began to boast about his competence. Today, I finished my work early and helped my colleagues. You know, being reliable is hard work when you're this good at your job. Is that so? The chairman's granddaughter is beautiful and she's an executive assistant, so I bet she's good at her job too. I'm just doing my job like everyone else. You don't need to be so humble. You're far different from my wife. He got on my nerves a bit, but the chairman moved on to the main topic. You get a packed lunch from your wife every day, don't you? Yes, she does work hard on that. What a wonderful thing, a lovingly prepared lunch from your wife. But it's the same thing every day. I'd like something extravagant once in a while. That's not something you should expect from your wife. Really, don't you, as a chairman, get extravagant lunches? I prefer something simple. It's an everyday thing, after all. Oh, you're just joking. You've even arranged for us to eat in such a wonderful place today. My husband's attitude was completely different from usual. He must have been trying to put on a good show in front of the chairman. I watched nervously, unsure of how it would unfold. "So, you don't cook?" the chairman asked. "Cook? No, that's women's work. I don't think that's the case nowadays. I think it's normal for men to work outside the home and for women to take care of the home. We both work, but ideally I'd like my wife to stay at home." "Really? Men are breadwinners and women are homemakers. That's how it's supposed to be." "That's a rather old-fashioned way of thinking." "Really? I think all men in the world would think the same way. Despite the increase in women's participation in society, they end up taking maternity leave or quitting their job. In the end, it's men who run society, and it's the same in our company as well. Don't you agree, Mr. Chairman?" That was the first time I heard such a thing, but he should know that we can't live on his income alone. He was spouting derogatory comments about women, but the chairman avoided addressing them and continued the conversation. "What do you think of men who cook?" he asked. "They're feminine. I've heard it's becoming more common, but I don't understand it. What if I told you that I enjoy cooking? Would you think I'm feminine?" "Ha! And what if I told you that I, not your wife, made today's lunch? What would you do?" "You're kidding, right?" You could feel the chairman's anger seeping through his words, and it's understandable because his handmade lunch was thrown away. "Hey, what's this about? What do you mean?" "What you said yourself. You didn't eat your lunch today, right?" The plan that Mickey and I hatched involved getting some help from the chairman, who had recently taken up cooking as a hobby. Yesterday, the chairman had kindly given us some of his homemade dishes, which I repackaged and handed over to my husband this morning. You set me up. It was far different from what I usually cook. Anyone could tell at a glance. My husband, who must have thrown it away without checking, was momentarily at a loss for words. Watching this, Mickey spoke up. "Aren't you more concerned about the terrible things you're doing?" "What terrible things?" "It's strange to throw away food every day without even eating it." That's right, it's the worst to just throw away something someone else has made for you without any appreciation. Well, if I had known it was made by you, sir, I wouldn't have thrown it away. My husband was trying to hastily backtrack, looking pale at the chairman's words. So you wouldn't throw away the lunch I make, but it's okay for you to throw away the ones prepared by your wife? Well, she's no good of a wife. Can a husband do whatever he wants? That was my last straw. You are really the worst. What are you on about all of a sudden? Don't you realize how much your actions are hurting me? Huh? Why are you getting so worked up? I can't stand it anymore. I want a divorce. My husband stood looking perplexed. He glanced around the room, realizing he had no one to back him up, and began to panic. What are you talking about? How can you just say something like that out of the blue? It's not out of the blue. I've been thinking about it for a long time. Where did the kind man I married go? I was in love with you then. I don't love who you are now. As I conveyed my feelings, tears began to spill. I took out the divorce papers that I had put in my bag and placed them on the table. All you need to do is sign. I filled in the rest. You're serious. If this looks like a joke to you, you're more helpless than I thought. Do you think you can survive after a divorce? I'll be fine. I'll be getting alimony from you after all. What? Watching this scene, the chairman began to speak. You seem to have some prejudices against women. That's not what I mean. I've heard from my granddaughter about your attitude towards our female employees. Coupled with this incident, this isn't something I can overlook as a chairman. What are you talking about? I'll let my son, the president, know about this. Wait, sir, I can't lose my job now. Before worrying about your job, there are other things you should do first. Taken aback by the chairman's angry voice, my husband was at a loss for words. Not once have you apologized. When you do something wrong, you apologize. Even a kid in elementary school knows that. I'm very sorry. Not to me, to your wife. Can't you even understand that? You're making me sick. Mickey, let's go. Sure, Linda, let's go. Huh? What are you waiting for? You're not going back home, right? You're coming with us. Seeing the desperate look on my husband's face, Mickey and I left the restaurant, feeling quite relieved. The next day at work, I got a call from Mickey. Your ex-husband got demoted. Demoted? When HR investigated his work behavior, there were complaints from female employees, one after another. Is that so? And apparently his performance in sales has plummeted. He deserves it. It seems that he was transferred to a sales branch in the countryside, where the women were quite formidable. At first, he seemed to resist and continued his tyrannical behavior, but the place was filled with tough women, like old-school matriarchs. Within a week, he was unable to talk back. Now he is so respectful of the women in the office that he even voluntarily makes copies. 2 weeks later, Mickey contacted me again. I was issued a notice of termination and was told that I would be transferred to work at the head office in a secretary position. What does this mean? I think this is the chairman's doing. It seems that the chairman took a liking to me after seeing my declaration the other day. So, he spoke with the president to allow me to work as a trainee secretary with Mickey. Oh, and there's a message from Grandpa. What? He said we're going to have a dinner party once a month where you'll eat his homemade food. This is an order coming from him as a chairman. What? The chairman's gonna cook for me? He apparently wants to treat you. He even mentioned taking cooking classes. Later, the divorce was finalized successfully. I was able to receive my desired amount of alimony, which was $20,000. I lost a husband but gained a new friend. I'm happy. From now on, I plan to have my chairman teach me how to cook delicious meals for myself. Olivia, my sister, mentioned they're coming over tomorrow afternoon. I'm sorry for always causing you trouble. Oh really? No problem. Should I prepare some snacks for tomorrow morning? I apologize that this keeps happening. It's like they don't have any boundaries. It's fine. I recently heard about a cute pastry place from a colleague. I'll go there to buy something. Aaron, my husband, is a 35-year-old office worker, 3 years older than me. We met at the office and got married later. He's always confident and a truly wonderful husband. He's such a nice guy and he is popular with the ladies. He is 178 centimeters tall and looks slim with a well-proportioned face. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say 100 out of 100 people would find him handsome. If he's good-looking and considerate, it's not surprising he is popular. However, it may be surprising that such a man married a tomboyish woman like me. Whatever age looks, especially his sisters, seem to feel strongly about this. Aaron, look, I got the recipe from my shop and made this myself. Wow, you cooked this. That's a surprise. You've never cooked before. Great job. Isn't this cool? I will enjoy it with Olivia later. Aaron, guess what? I've been getting a lot of praise at my new job. They say I'm good at what I do. Amelia, it sounds like things are going well for you. It's great that you're being recognized. You're doing an excellent job. The two sisters-in-law, Emma and Amelia, truly adore their brother, my husband. Even when they visit our house, they don't show much interest in me. It's tough with both of them always clinging to him and calling him Aaron. However, their deep trust and pride in him show how reliable he is. I found it in dealing with Olivia. Your bangs look weird. They're split in the middle. You should fix it. Really? Is it that noticeable? As the wife of my brother, you should look presentable. Wow, you're always so strict with looks. Afterwards, Emma kept pointing out how unsuitable. I stand by my husband, refusing to succumb to the sisters' attempts to force agreement. Despite their insistence, my kind and wonderful husband never once aligns with them. You two don't truly understand Olivia's good side, he always asserts with absolute conviction. Suddenly, Emma and Amelia, looking displeased, retreat home. I'm sorry for always putting you through this, Olivia. It's because I've spoiled them. My husband apologizes, as he often does. They always end up being rude to you. After her sisters depart, my husband offers his comforting presence, a consistent source of solace. That's the kind of husband he is, which is why he's so attractive, I muse inwardly. Furthermore, he excels in his career, showcasing remarkable talent week after week. The following week, we embark on a visit to his parents' house to celebrate my mother-in-law's birthday. A mere 15-minute drive separates our home from hers, with an MTA station and the city's main shopping area in between. For her birthday gift, we opt for a beautiful sweater. My active mother-in-law frequents the gym, enjoys dining out, and relishes travels with friends. During our shopping trip, my husband accompanies me, admiring the chosen garment. It looks lovely, he remarks, reinforcing his support and appreciation. When we gave her the present, she was thrilled. Thank you as always, Olivia. This is so lovely. My friends are throwing me a birthday party next week, and I'm thinking of wearing it then. It's great. We always appreciate you, Olivia. My mother-in-law and father-in-law always acknowledge and respect me greatly. When I decided to marry my husband and first met them, to be honest, the atmosphere was a bit awkward. Both of my in-laws seemed to have stiff expressions, and I felt a distance, which made me uneasy. I later learned that my husband had once considered marrying another woman 8 years ago and had introduced her to his parents. However, her attitude towards her potential in-laws wasn't good, and it became clear through discussions that she was only interested in my husband's looks, and eventually the marriage was cut off. Therefore, initially, my in-laws were concerned that I might be another woman who was only interested in their son's appearance. However, after a while, my in-laws seemed to be reassured that I'm not interested only in his looks. Now, we have built a very good relationship. Byron, you're here. Emma, who had just finished her part-time job, came home. Byron, there is something. I want to tell you, I've decided to get married. Really? Congratulations, Emma. While I was surprised to hear about Emma's decision to get married, I noticed that my in-laws looked worried. She's going to marry a man from the restaurant where she worked part-time. He is 40, 12 years older than her. I thought my in-laws were concerned about the age gap, but they were actually worried that the man seems to have no savings. Despite their warnings, Emma insisted he is wonderful and kind, perhaps even resembling her brother, and that she can persuade him to start saving money. Even though Emma feels that everything is fine, it seems that the in-laws are not so easily convinced. My husband seemed to understand the situation and said, "Is that so, Emma? Is he a good person?" He listened intently to her story about him. 2 weeks later, my sister-in-law visited our apartment again. We had dinner ready for them since they were coming in the evening. As we all enjoyed dinner together, my husband said, "This hamburger steak is one of Olivia's specialties. It's so delicious, right?" I immediately reacted with apparent annoyance. "It doesn't seem like a big job. I can cook this too. Don't act like you're a good chef, Olivia." Exactly. Making hamburger steak is too easy. Despite this, the topic turned to Emma's impending marriage. Emma, don't you think it's a bit too soon? Haven't you only been dating for 2 months? Maybe you could take a bit more time to get to know each other better, my husband suggested. Emma, usually obedient to him, grew angry. Mind your own business, Aaron. I've already made up my mind. He might seem unreliable, but he is a kind and good person. I love him. He may not be impressive, but he's honest and cute. I'm going to marry him. Emma, even though he is 20 years older than you, I don't see him as the honest and cute person you are imagining. It might be better to watch and wait a bit. Why are you intervening too? Are you mocking me? Who do you think you are? That's right, Emma has made up her mind. Let's go, Amelia. I've had enough. In anger, Emma left her apartment with Amelia. Several days later, Amelia, I've come up with something interesting. What is it? Remember last time when Olivia started to act like a big sister? It seemed Emma was still angry about the advice that I've given her about her marriage. Emma's interesting idea was, one day, I stopped at an ATM on my way home from work. There was a credit card left at the ATM. The card belonged to someone named Isabella Smith, coincidentally having the same surname as me, Smith. A sticker with the PIN number was attached, making the card easily usable by anyone. As I learned to turn it into the police, I constantly ran into my sister's in-laws on my way. Hey Olivia, are you on your way home right now? Emma asked. Yes, I am. It's rare to see you here, I replied. Olivia, I'm really hungry. Can you treat us to some food? Emma requested. I was very surprised. This was so unlikely of her. Really? Of course I would. Let me check with Aaron. Just wait a moment. When I sent a message to Aaron, he replied saying he'd be late and told me to go ahead. What are you in the mood to eat? I asked. I'd like some pasta, Emma said. Me too. I want pasta, Amelia chimed in. Following their request, the three of us headed to a fancy Italian restaurant. Emma ordered pescatelle and Amelia ordered bolognese. I ordered carbonara. We talked about my husband while eating, enjoying hearing stories of how he protected them from bullies and helped them with their studies. Our pasta arrived, and as we were eating and chatting, suddenly Amelia exclaimed, "Oh, I'm sorry." Some of her bolognese sauce had splashed onto my white shirt, leaving a big stain. Olivia, you might want to go to the restroom to clean that stain, Emma suggested. You're right, I should, I agreed. Heading to the restroom, I left my seat with just my handkerchief. By the time I returned as the boss had finished their meals. Quickly, I ate the remaining pasta and we left the restaurant. I'm really sorry about staining your shirt, Amelia apologized. It's all right, it wasn't a special shirt anyway, I reassured her. Thanks for the treat today, Emma said. You're welcome, it was really fun hearing stories about Aaron. Let's do it again, I suggested. Yeah, let's. See ya. Take care, they bid farewell. It was so happy to finally have a proper conversation with my sisters-in-law. However, I completely forgot about the credit card I had collected at the ATM. Turns out, Emma had gotten a hold of it. That was so easy. That stupid woman, she's so clueless, Emma remarked. It's not like I wanted her to treat us to a meal. She really should have noticed. She said the shirt wasn't special, right? Well, it didn't look expensive. Also, she has a card made under the fake name Mia, Amelia added. Really? That's suspicious. People say you can judge a book by its cover. Hey, what if she was a criminal? Emma pondered. Their aim was not a dinner together, but my credit card. Specifically, Emma wanted to use my card to pay for an extravagant honeymoon. However, I did not have a credit card. But that evening, Emma booked her honeymoon to Hawaii using the card. I discovered it was an extravagant plan involving a stay at a luxury hotel. The following month, I heard from Aaron that Emma got married without the ceremony and left for her honeymoon. Emma kept talking about marriage, but I thought she was just dreaming. I wonder if she is alright. I have a feeling there's something off about her partner. While having dinner with my husband, I got a call from Emma. As soon as I answered, I heard an extremely excited voice say, "Thanks for the $30,000 gift." Wait, Emma, aren't you on your honeymoon in Hawaii? I asked. That's right, I'm calling from Hawaii right now, she exclaimed. Sounds like you're having fun, but what do you mean by a $30,000 gift? I paid for this entire animal with your credit card, so you will have to cover the church, Emma revealed. What do you mean? I used your credit card to pay for everything, she confessed. What? I don't have a credit card, I exclaimed. Huh? I thought this card was yours, Emma replied, confusion evident in her voice. After a while, Emma returned from her honeymoon. She was questioned by Aaron and the in-laws for the details, and she eventually spilled the beans. According to Emma, she wanted to go on a honeymoon and also wanted to get back at me for interfering in her marriage. She thought it would be a good idea to pay for the honeymoon using my credit card. She had plotted beforehand, unbeknownst to me, and using the excuse of treating me to a meal, she stole the credit card from my bag. However, the credit card was not mine. Emma committed a crime by unauthorized use of a stranger's credit card, spending $30,000 in total. This is a serious issue. We contacted the credit card company and tried to negotiate a settlement with the owner. Surprisingly, the credit card owner turned out to be our relative, Isabella. Considering the family relationship, we thought the settlement would go smoothly. However, this particular relative was quite eccentric. For some reason, she had a grudge against my mother-in-law and was not someone who would easily forgive us. Together with my in-law's husband and Emma, we visited Isabella's house to apologize. I deeply apologize for what Emma has done. Of course, we will immediately return the $30,000. Isn't this an unauthorized card usage? Doesn't she know that this is a serious crime? Of course, Emma always acts without thinking of the consequences, and this time she used $30,000. We are truly sorry. Give me a reason why I shouldn't go to the police. Forgive her. We're family, right? A crime is a crime, whether we are related or not. It doesn't matter. Also, will Emma herself repay the $30,000 she used without permission? Emma is a part-timer with no savings, so I will initially take on the responsibility of repayment. Do you think just repaying the money will resolve this? Don't joke with me. The discussion between the father-in-law and Isabella didn't progress and ended up dragging on, finally deciding to discuss it again on another day. Later, on the third visit, Isabella finally agreed to the father-in-law paying the $30,000. Moreover, she then demanded an additional compensation of $5,000. The father-in-law complied, even with this unreasonable demand, and transferred a total of $35,000 to the end account. Subsequently, Emma ended up owing $35,000 to her father. To ensure she wouldn't default, a legally valid promissory note was also prepared. Emma's husband, who went on a honeymoon to Hawaii with her, disappeared as soon as he found out about Emma's debt of $35,000. To protect himself, he initiated a divorce and fled from his newlywed wife, Emma. Moreover, he quickly started living with another woman before the divorce procedures were even finalized. He is a 40-year-old man who is 12 years older than Emma, without any savings and can hold a job, but apparently he had a way with the ladies. Emma married him, being charmed by his unreliable yet cute demeanor. I do feel a bit of sympathy for Emma. Furthermore, Emma is the same age as Jacqueline, who is the daughter of Isabella, the owner of the credit card. They went to the same school from elementary to high school, but they were in different classes and had a competitive relationship rather than a friendly one. Jacqueline spread the word to their classmates. Emma is a criminal with a debt of $35,000. Watch out for her. Be careful with your wallet. Consequently, even Emma's old friends started distancing themselves from her. However, after these events, Emma's attitude towards me changed. They used to be competitive with me, but they have slowly started to respect me, and they plan to visit my house again tomorrow. They want me to teach them how to make hamburger steak. Where are you now? I asked as I watched a baseball game with my brother. That's when my certainty about my husband's lies solidified. His brother wasn't in any condition to watch a baseball game right now. Once I realized all of this, I resolved to take revenge on my husband. I found unlikely allies for this. My name is Sarah. I'm 27 years old, a nurse at a university hospital. All jobs are tough, but being a nurse means dealing with people's lives. While I don't directly intervene as a doctor would, the everyday support and minor treatments I perform come with a weight of responsibility not much different. When I was in elementary school, I had to be hospitalized due to an illness. Despite being young, I felt a lot of anxiety, crying alone when my parents couldn't visit me due to work. But the nurse who cared for me saved my heart during those times. Sarah, it's okay if you don't hold back when you're feeling lonely. It's definitely going to get better. Let's hang in there a little longer, she'd encourage me every day. Thanks to her, I overcame the hardships of my hospital stay. After being discharged, I admired her and decided to become a nurse. I studied hard to achieve my dream, and now it's been 5 years since I've become a nurse. The job is certainly challenging, but every time I see a patient smile, I genuinely feel glad to be doing this work. I'm fortunate to have my current job, and one of the reasons is my husband, Bob, whom I married a year ago. I first met Bob at a party, and once we started talking, we found out we had a lot in common. We hit it off pretty quickly, leading to us dating. After 2 years of dating, he proposed to me. "I love you, Sarah. You put your heart and soul into everything you do. I want to spend the rest of my life with you," he said. "Are you sure? Do you really want to be with me?" I asked. "Why would you even question it? I want to be with you because you're Sarah. So I want you to get married to me," he replied. "Yeah, I want to be with you too, Bob," I said, and we officially tied the knot a year ago. But there's one thing that's been bothering me. He doesn't get along well with his parents. Ideally, we would have wanted to hold our wedding ceremony when we got our marriage license, but he refused. He didn't want to have anything to do with his parents. So when we went to pay a visit to his parents to announce our marriage, it was hard to set a date. We somehow managed to pay a visit, but my husband was in a bad mood the entire time, and we only stayed for 30 minutes. We ended up getting married without having much of a conversation with my in-laws. Of course, I'd like my in-laws to attend our wedding ceremony too. So, I decided to be honest about how I feel. "Bob, can we talk for a moment?" I asked. "What's up?" he replied. "It's about your parents. We also have the ceremony to think about, so I think we should go see them and have a proper discussion," I suggested. My husband let out a deep sigh and responded with an annoyed expression. "Didn't I tell you before that I don't want to talk about my parents? As far as I'm concerned, I don't care if we don't invite anyone to our wedding. But we should at least invite your parents, Bob. That's enough. If you insist on having family members there, we can just ask my brother. Isn't that good enough?" I reasoned. "Well, I'd love to have your brother attend, but you're really persistent, Sarah. This is a matter of my family, so please don't meddle too much," he said with another sigh before leaving the living room. Alone in the room, I slumped on the couch, staring blankly at the ceiling, overwhelmed by a feeling of emptiness. It was such a shame that we were distant from my father-in-law and mother-in-law. They were such nice people. I wanted them to attend the ceremony, but what could I do to make my husband understand? Even after countless attempts, whenever I suggested, "Let's go see your parents," my husband flat out refused. At some point, he would get angry just by mentioning them. One day, my brother-in-law and his wife were coming to visit us at our apartment. We had dinner together once when we reported our marriage, but although they lived in a neighboring city, it was the first time they visited us since our marriage. After 10 o'clock, our apartment buzzer rang. When I opened the door, there stood my brother-in-law, Jake, and his wife, Emily. "Hello, Jake. It's been a while," I greeted. Jake showed a bright smile. "Hey, Sarah. Long time no see. I apologize for dropping by unexpectedly. Hope you don't mind." "Oh, not at all. Bob is waiting inside. Please come in," I replied. "Awesome, thanks." "Well, here I come," said Jake, following me inside. Emily took off her shoes and called out a greeting, but there was no response from her. "Did she not hear me?" wondered Emily. "She didn't talk much last time we met either. I wish we could be better friends." As they enjoyed some casual chatter while having cake, the atmosphere began to lighten. Since they decided to have lunch, I started preparing the meal. As I was getting things ready, my brother-in-law entered the kitchen. "Sarah, I heard from our folks you haven't visited home since you got married," he remarked. Yes. Well, it's Bob, isn't it? He doesn't get along well with Dad, right?" I admitted. "That's right. I want my in-laws to come to our wedding, but Bob is hesitant," I confessed. Upon hearing my words, my brother-in-law made a troubled face. After pondering a bit, he said apologetically, "I'm sorry. Bob's being stubborn. I wish there was something I could do about it." "I'm sorry to cause you trouble, brother-in-law." No, I'm the one who should apologize for not being able to do anything. I'll try to talk to Bob about it indirectly." "Really? Thank you. That would be a great help." Meanwhile, my husband and sister-in-law were having fun playing mobile games. Despite my worries, they seemed to be enjoying themselves. I started to feel frustrated with my husband. Just as my brother-in-law and his wife were about to leave, my husband spoke up in a stern voice. "Hey, what's up? Did you say something to my brother? Why do you ask? When we were weaving, my brother said you should think about Sarah and confront our parents. You were chatting with him while making lunch, right? You stirred up something unnecessary, didn't you? With a look I'd never seen before, my husband glared at me. Silenced by the awkwardness, I was unable to respond before he continued. You know, isn't it unfair to talk to my brother about our parents, knowing that I don't want to be involved with them? No, I didn't mean. I'm turned off. I'm not feeling like doing the wedding anymore. What? I started, but he clicked his tongue loudly and left the house. He didn't come back until the next day. Since that day, my relationship with Bob has been strained. Our conversations dwindled to the bare minimum, and the once light-hearted atmosphere was gone. Then my husband's absences began to increase gradually, especially on holidays. He was almost never home. Suspicion crept in as he started going out more often. Gathering my courage, I decided to confront him. Hey, you've been going out a lot on your days off recently. Where do you go? I asked. Does it matter? Do I need to report everything to you? He replied sharply. What's with that tone? Do you have a reason you can't tell me? I pressed, half-jokingly. His eyebrows shot up at my question. Flustered, he stammered. I've been going to my parents' house. Parents' house? Bob's, I clarified, surprised. Really? I mean, with the wedding coming up, Sarah wanted my parents to join us, remember? He explained hastily. Well, yeah, but if that's the case, shouldn't I go too? I inquired. No, it's fine. My parents would feel uncomfortable with Sarah around anyway. That's the situation, so don't worry about it. He ended the conversation almost forcefully, leaving no room for my input. After that, he continued to visit his parents' house on his days off. I expressed my desire to accompany him, but he never agreed. Then, one day while I was at work in the hospital, a familiar patient was brought in on an emergency basis. What? Brother-in-law? I exclaimed, recognizing him. Even when I called out to him, his response was sluggish and his body temperature was high. He was also having mild convulsions. According to the doctor, it was probably heat stroke. I quickly tried to call his wife, but there was no answer, just continued ringing. I was sure his wife was a homemaker, so why wasn't she picking up the phone, especially when my brother-in-law was in such a condition? What should I do? But panicking won't help. I decided to switch gears and call my husband. However, like my brother-in-law's wife, he didn't pick up the phone. My husband should be at his parents' house today, so I decided to try calling their house. Since our marriage, I haven't been able to meet or even properly talk with my in-laws. They might not think highly of me, but I can't care about that right now. When I dialed the landline of their house, after a few rings, my mother-in-law picked up the phone. This is Sarah. I apologize for not being in touch for so long, mother-in-law. Oh, Sarah, it's been a long time. Have you been doing well? Yes, thanks to you. I'm sorry I haven't been able to visit. Don't worry about that. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Sarah. And is Bob doing well? Yes, he's well. Wait, what? I was taken aback by my mother-in-law's words. My husband should be at his parents' house right now. Confused, I hesitantly asked my mother-in-law, Mother-in-law, isn't Bob there now? Bob? I haven't seen him since he introduced you when you got married. What? I thought he's been visiting almost every week. There's no way you know Bob dislikes us, don't you, Sarah? My husband hadn't been going to his parents' house. What does this mean? Wasn't he supposed to go back home to smooth things over with his parents in preparation for the wedding? The more I thought about it, the more confused I became. To confirm the facts, I called Bob again. Of course, he didn't pick up at first, but I kept calling persistently, over and over again. After about the 10th call, he finally answered the phone. He spoke in a noticeably irritated tone. What is it? You keep calling. I'm busy. Busy? Even though you haven't even been to your parents' house? How do you? I just had a chat with my mother-in-law on the phone. Hey, what's the deal? It's not just today. You haven't been visiting your parents' home all this time, right? Well, that's... Explain it properly. Where are you right now? As I waited silently for his answer, my husband nonchalantly said, I'm watching baseball with Jake. Baseball? Yeah, you can hear it, can't you? The cheaters of watching the game. Jake and I are having a blast right now. At that moment, waves of pent-up anger overtook my restraint. Indeed, behind my husband, lively voices could be heard. Judging from the sounds, it seemed true that they were at a baseball game. But that's not the issue. The main issue was that my husband was lying big time. How should I confront him, holding back my anger? I pondered for a moment, then spoke up. Hey Bob, how long are you going to be on the phone? Emily, my sister-in-law, whose voice I could recognize through the phone, chimed in. There was no mistaking it since we just met the other day. Realizing that the call had been disconnected and only the busy signal was echoing in my ear, I understood. Everything was a lie. I couldn't forgive this. At this rate, I'll corner him by any means necessary. With a newfound resolve, I headed to Jake's place. Fortunately, his condition had already stabilized and he was sleeping soundly. Just as I was about to leave the room, opening the door, a voice came from behind me. Sarah? Oh, Jake, are you okay? I asked. Yeah, I'm fine. It was a heat stroke, huh? I was feeling sluggish, but I was so busy that I didn't have time to hydrate. Please be careful. I was really surprised when you were brought in. Ha, sorry. So why are you here, Sarah? Jake inquired. Oh, well, actually, I began. I informed Jake that my husband might be with Emily at the moment. Instead of being surprised, Jake smirked. I see you've noticed Sarah. By the way you're saying it, Jake, did you know about this all along? I asked. Yeah, well, I found out about a month ago, and I just started gathering evidence. But I've got more than enough evidence now, so don't worry, Jake reassured me. I see. I'm sorry. I didn't know anything, Jake admitted. No, it's okay. I was waiting for the right timing to tell you because I thought it would be too harsh on you. Though it turned out this way, I feel like I can finally move on. I replied weakly, though I felt an immense dislike for the two who made Jake and me feel this way. Jake laughed weakly, but he seemed somewhat lonely. At the same time, I waited for my brother-in-law's recovery, and then we headed to his parents' house together. Upon explaining the sequence of events to my in-laws, they were momentarily at a loss for words. After learning the truth, with apologetic looks, they began to apologize. Sarah, we're sorry for our foolish son's affair. We never expected this to happen, they said. Please don't apologize. I'm okay, I assured them. But right, honey? Yes, apologies won't fix this. We're truly sorry, my husband's father added. It's okay. Instead, would you lend me and your son a little help? I proposed to my in-laws. My brother-in-law and I each made simultaneous calls to his wife and my husband. Perhaps surprised to be called at the same time, Emily and my husband picked up the phone immediately. Hello? Sarah, what's up? What do you mean, what's up? You're with Emily right now, aren't you? I confronted my husband. What are you talking about? Why would I be with my brother's wife? He replied, but I heard Emily's voice in the background. When I called earlier and your brother knows everything, we got concrete evidence of the affair, I asserted, my anger boiling over. Despite the evidence, my husband kept spouting nonsense, claiming it was a misunderstanding and he just happened to run into her. I was fed up with his lack of remorse and his constant prioritization of self-preservation, even at this point. Out of sheer anger and feeling betrayed, I raised my voice. Shut up. Misunderstanding. What are you saying? At this point, do you think such excuses will work? You took advantage of my feelings and betrayed me in the worst possible way. I will never forgive you. I'm divorcing you, you scum. Wait, I didn't intend a divorce. What? How dare you say that after cheating on me? Just so you know, I have no intention of getting back with you or that woman. I hope you both go to hell. Your parents won't help you anymore. Suffer for the rest of your life, regretting what you've done, you piece of trash. Without waiting for his response, I hung up. Shortly after, my brother-in-law and I went to the city office to get divorce papers. Eventually, my husband and I divorced amicably. Initially reluctant, he finally signed the divorce papers after being persuaded by his parents. Of course, my brother-in-law's divorce was also finalized. We both demanded substantial alimony from them. Later, I found out that my ex-husband had been involved with my brother-in-law's wife for quite some time. Apparently, he was meeting her during lunch breaks and after work, and their affair was exposed at the worst possible time by their coworkers. As a result, his reputation at work plummeted. Unable to withstand the judgment from his colleagues, he eventually quit his job after repeated absences. My brother-in-law's wife, who was a stay-at-home wife, also had her life turned upside down. She lived with my ex-husband for a while after the divorce, but as their financial situation worsened, their arguments increased and they broke up within a few months. For a while, she won't be able to live a decent life. On my end, surprisingly, I've been getting by day to day without much fuss. Right after my divorce, I moved to an apartment near work, living the carefree life. I still keep in regular contact with my brother-in-law and my ex-in-laws. Where I am today is thanks to them. They will always be important people to me, and that will never change. I'll make sure to live in a way that won't bring shame to them. I'll prove that I can be happy on my own. That's the solemn